Welcome to The Clean Slate, a podcast where we chat about facilities management, commercial cleaning, and keeping the working world safe, clean, efficient, and free from risk. I'm your host, Trista Sobek. Today on the podcast, we have Marcus Scott, who is a franchisee and entrepreneur, small business owner, pastor at a church, founder of a foundation in his community, among other things. And we're going to talk about what makes him successful and how can you be a small business owner and look toward the future and not just the day to day. So it's about seeing that big picture. So get ready for a fun conversation with Marcus Scott. So, Marcus, what's the first thing you did today when you woke up?
Morning devotion was the first thing I did today was morning devotion.
And what does that look like to you? And why is it important?
So I used to get up, grab my phone and start kind of going through it. And as I was wanting to develop my inner spiritual person and have a better relationship with God, what it looks like now is I get up, I don't touch the phone, and I go into a quiet room and I pray first. And usually a time of silence could be anything between 5 and 30 minutes. And then from there, I go into scripture reading. So that could be either on my phone or the actual Bible. And probably 2 days ago, I actually decided to study more in depth. So I have a plan now along with the program that I actually get into, and I probably do about an hour of that first thing in the morning.
That sounds like such a really good discipline because I got up this morning and the first thing I do is I go for that phone and I start scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. What they call it doom scrolling now. And everything comes at you all at once. And I think that's not great if you want to go into a specific type of mindset.
Correct.
So we're going to talk about, so that's one of the things that you do that keeps you successful or that
Correct.
makes you successful.
And I found that it helps me daily. So prior to, I did not do that, or I was hitting and missing. And the days that I did not do it seemed like I had worse days, not only necessarily worse, but because things would happen on the days that I would do it, I would just seem to be able to get through it easier if I had started my day like that. So now I constantly do that, and it allows me to get through the day. So
little hiccups, little annoyances kind of just roll off your back if you do a touch base with like your higher power or spirit or God, whatever you want to call it, right? And for you, it's God. And for other people, it could be something else, but it could be the same type of concept.
Correct. I just went to a leadership class probably 2 days ago. One of the things he said is even if you just take 3 deep breaths in transition, whatever the transition is, from your house to your car, from your car to the house, from the car to the office door, it kind of takes a weight off because we don't in normal day to day take deep breaths. So I just recently started doing that. So even if it's taking a moment and taking 3 really deep breaths, and I felt that I was like, oh man, that does work. So even if it's something as simple as that,
but slowly, change. Right? Not like we're not going to go.
Yeah,
now we're going to hyperventilate.
Correct. I mean, seriously, like if you just did that 3 times right now, you could feel a difference.
I did it once, and I feel good. I feel better.
Correct, because we don't do it often. So
yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for that. So, welcome to the podcast, the
Thank
Clean
you for
Slate.
having me. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm so happy you're here. And you are 2024 FAB member, which is the Franchisee Advisory Board here at OpenWorks. So what made you kind of raise your hand, or were you nominated? What made you want to be on the FAB?
So I'm always looking to be involved in whatever I'm part of. And I'm always looking to grow in whatever I'm a part of. And I am a fighter for people. And one of the things where I thought I could help other franchisees the most was in that position. I didn't even really know about it until one of our regional persons, Alexis, mentioned it to me. And that's when I started looking into it. I said, okay. And so being that I could help someone else, I feel like that just gives me the greatest joy in life. In fact, going back to this leadership thing that I talk about, I've taken the DISC assessment many times.
Personality assessment, right? It's like a personality. Yeah.
Correct. And so this was kind of an updated one that was twofold, but it really dug in. And when I read it after I took it, I was like, wow, this is me. And then the person who was giving it and giving me feedback on it, he said, oh, I can see that you're the type of person that always wants to help somebody. Like, that's the joy that you get. He told me that, and he didn't know me. He went based off of what he was reading. And that's true enough. It doesn't matter what I'm helping somebody with. If I feel like I'm helping someone else succeed and do what they want to do, that gives me the ultimate joy.
So knowing yourself, I think, is another key, right? If you know yourself and you know what fills your cup, right, you don't have to worry about that. That's fantastic. How did your journey to entrepreneurship start?
So to be honest, I think the entrepreneurship really more so came from my parents, because my dad is a pastor, and so he was called to pastoring. In 1980, we moved to Tampa to pastor a church. And I think I was 2 going on 3. And from there, a few years after that, he and my mom and the church, they opened up a school. That was his vision, to open up a school. And so my mom worked at the school. He did things at the school while also pastoring the church. And so I watched and saw them, grow that ministry and the school to where the school is a very important and strong pillar of our community here in the Tampa, Florida area. And it's really well known since I think it started in 1985. And so watching them, I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. And it's funny because
that's where the helping comes out as well. So, that's definitely a part of that as well. Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, absolutely. And, watching them do that, help others. But my brother just told me the other day, he reminded me, he's like, man, you always had the entrepreneur in you, because I believe I was probably somewhere between 12 and 14. And I was like, hey, man, let's sell candy. We can make money. And that was probably literally my first business. And it wasn't Sam's back then. It was similar to Sam's, but it was called Pace. And I asked my mom, I said, hey, can you take me to the store and buy some candy in the bulk thing? And then I'm going to take it and sell it.
For a little bit of a markup.
Yes. Yeah. So that was the first business I actually had, was a candy store.
That's great though, because then you can like start learning like profits and losses and all that fun stuff that,
Correct.
you know, it's just basics. You didn't have to learn it in a school. So awesome.
Yeah. So that's where it started.
Why do you think or I guess not, why did you choose OpenWorks at where you are now? So, you know, were you involved in other commercial cleaning, or were you just like, oh, commercial cleaning, that's, you know, it doesn't matter? Because I'm finding a lot of people come to OpenWorks or entrepreneurship by just wanting to own a franchise. And it's kind of like, you know, not that it doesn't matter, but, you know, commercial cleaning seems to be attractive to people like, you know, who want to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. So did you have a commercial cleaning business first, or like what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, was it your entrepreneurship desire, or was it the commercial cleaning?
It was more so my entrepreneurship desire. I had been looking at franchises probably since, I want to say roughly 2000, probably 2009, maybe even a little before. I was always looking and saying, I want to own a franchise one day. And then after, or going back to school, I had to do a paper on, I did a paper on, I think, McDonald's. And so that opened my eyes to the franchise world. And so I began to look for franchises then. And I actually was interested in OpenWorks years ago back then, but I didn't have all the financial resources that I would have liked at the time. And so I do not have a cleaning background per se. Going back to my dad's church, and me and my brother joke about this. The only cleaning experience I had was cleaning at the church, so we would have to clean.
Well,
we would have to clean bathrooms and stuff like that. In fact, now that you mention that, so my first official job was a janitor at the church. And I remember I was 14, and my dad said, you have to come for an interview. I was like, an interview? You're the pastor. Like,
he made you interview for the job?
Yes. And let me tell you, it's a great story. So he said, meet me on, whatever. I don't remember the exact day, but it was like, meet me on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, be on time. So I go down there in shorts and a t-shirt, and he was like, where do you think you're going?
I love this. This is fantastic.
Yeah. And I said, well, I had an interview with you. He was like, not looking like that. You don't.
Lesson number one.
Yes.
Lesson one.
He said, you better go home, put on a shirt and a tie. And I'm thinking, for a janitor's interview? And he was like, you always want to dress for the job you want, not for the one you have. I'm liking
this dad of yours. Can he come raise my child? Like, seriously, this is awesome. That's right. Yeah, you always dress for the job you want.
Yeah. So I went back home. I dressed up and went back and interviewed him. And that was my first job as a janitor at the church. Yeah. Great experience. Now, that really had no correlation on me wanting OpenWorks per se, but it's funny how that, comes back around full circle. But the ultimate reason I did choose OpenWorks, not only was it reasonable to get in comparison to some other franchises, but also I looked at the market. And so the market for commercial cleaning, I thought was very interesting and opening and growing. And so that was one of the reasons I chose OpenWorks as a franchise.
Yeah. When you did that research, it's very eye-opening about commercial cleaning and facilities management, how much it's going to grow and how much it's not going anywhere, right? We have this, hybrid work, methodology that's happening, and people are worried about that, but we're always going to have buildings, right? We're always going to have churches. We're always going to have, commercial buildings. There's always going to be hospitals, clinics, and they all need to be taken care of, regardless of what's happening in the world, regardless if people are sitting in offices or not, because not all buildings are office buildings, So I think that's really interesting that you picked up on that right away. And it's like, oh, this could be good. Like, first of all, you own your own business, and then, it's going to be there, and it's up to you to grow it. So correct. I think that's really interesting.
Just to even take it a step further, because I'm licensed in real estate. Commercial is not just like store, hospital. It's actually living facility. So I actually have a contract at a condo where people live there. And so we clean the common areas and stuff. And so having and one of the issues one of the reasons they brought us in as OpenWorks and a franchise or a company to help with that is because they tried doing it themselves. And it's very challenging to handle employment and all of those things. Yeah. And that was a big eye opener for me myself. But just to go back to commercial isn't just stores or just those buildings. We said there's actually residential commercial. Yep. And how we see it in the real estate world. In the state of Florida, they consider commercial anything 5 units or more. But my point is there are buildings where people live that still need the same type of cleaning to be consistently.
Absolutely. And that keeping those common areas clean all the time. And as from a facilities management standpoint, when your tenant says, my water is not working, you better get up there and fix that water, because, they're paying,
Correct.
a lot of money to live there. And, there's a lot of studies that show, within the first year or first couple months of somebody moving in, that's when they decide if they're going to stay, or if they're going to go. This is like, aside if their circumstances of living change and they change jobs. But if everything is status quo in their lives, the first couple of months, they're going to be like, we're out of here, start packing, start packing. And then that first year is such a big deal. So then you have to deal with tenant churn, and then you have to deal with all those other things and turning the rooms. So,
correct.
It is really important that that place better. I mean, if you're paying $4,000 for an apartment, that better look, which is like upwards of where we're going now in the United States. That apartment better look great, and that floor better be stripped and waxed, and I better feel safe.
You don't want green and mold on the side of the building, so it better be pressure washed or painted. Looking good. All the way down to even the lawn care. So, it needs to look nice if I'm paying, a certain amount. And that's how both tenants and owners, if it's condos, that's how they feel. Like, I want my outside area taken care of.
Right. And, I always want to keep the conversation on you, but, OpenWorks and facility management, like, you can have your property manager, and then they can just have one person to call, and that would be OpenWorks. And then you as the owner of your OpenWorks franchisee, you can handle all that. So, we can get the people there, and you're just managing it. So, it is really exciting because you are overseeing commerce, you're overseeing people's lives. When I first started at OpenWorks, I thought to say. I'm like, well, facilities management, that's not very sexy. I worked for a lifestyle brand. I was, writing all kinds of skincare things. And then I come here, but I'm like, you know what? This is real. And this is about people, and this is about communities and keeping people safe. And I love it because there are so many stories there. You and your story, and your dad being like, come on and do an interview. So what is your favorite part about being a business owner right now?
Ooh, to be honest, and listen, I have to always go back to the people, but my favorite part, and I was just thinking about this today, is being able to employ people, being able to provide jobs. That is probably my number one satisfaction. And I don't know if this is the time to talk about it, but I just got off the phone today with one of OpenWorks' new partners, because OpenWorks just partnered with a company where if I transition to them to use them, I can also offer my employees health insurance. That was important to me because I said one day I want to be able to offer them health insurance. Right now, I couldn't do it on my own, but with this new company that OpenWorks partnered with, it allows me now to be able to offer my employees health insurance and all kind of benefits, not just actual health insurance, but a lot of different stuff, vision, dental. And like, that is what satisfies me right now the most, owning a business and a franchise.
Yeah, OpenWorks has a lot of relationships with companies like that who will, give you the resources and the path to find those things. And you're right, that's extremely exciting. Like, you're helping somebody take care of themselves. We live in this capitalistic society, and that's how our society is. But to be able to give somebody the ability to go to the doctor when they need to, that's gigantic. And that goes beyond facilities management. That goes beyond commercial cleaning, so
yes,
that's exciting.
Yes. Yeah. I had two people that I said that I would always focus on if I own a business, a company, or anything. That's the company, that's the customer, and the employees. And I don't treat my employees like employees. I treat them like team members. And that just, again, brings me joy. Because again, going back to what I originally said, it's about people.
Yeah. I love that so much. That's fantastic. So, let's see. We covered a couple things so far. What else do I want to get to? You're going to help people, how you got to entrepreneurship, what you did in the morning. Is there anything else you can add as far as, small business ownership and, what you like about entrepreneurship, what you like about OpenWorks, what you know?
So one of the things, I guess I can tie the two with OpenWorks and being an owner, a franchisee owner, that one of the things that I came in with, because I do have an entrepreneurial mind, is I know, OpenWorks is here to help me, but ultimately the success is based on me. And what that means is I have to come in and put in the work. I have to come in and learn whatever it is I need to learn, to grow, to put the things in place, in order to grow. And you have to have a vision in order to do that. And so one of the things I came in, with, and I told my wife at the time, I was like, I don't really want to clean the facilities myself. I will if I have to, but I want to employ people. And so what does that look like? Well, getting systems in place. And so that's part of growing a business. What systems do you have? What are in the military, we call them SOPs. I hear some businesses say that, but it stands for standard operating procedures. Having stuff written down so that if I do have an employee that misses work or one that changes or comes in new, I have everything written down on task, what's supposed to happen for that position. And so that comes along with the growing a business and entrepreneurship. And that's also relevant to the franchisee and the franchise owner. I said that I wanted to start, whether it be a class or mentorship or something for people who want to own business, because a lot of times the idea is, oh, I just want to work for myself. But you get burnt out if I don't like to look at it as self-employment, because you get burnt out. The other thing is, if you're not there, nothing happens. So I like to look at it from a business/corporation standpoint of it needs to operate and function even if you're not there. If you want to grow a true business or a true company.
Right. Otherwise, you're wearing all the hats again and doing all the things. And that's just untenable for one person, in any job. So that makes a lot of sense. So what is your onboarding process like? So when you make, connections with new accounts and you have a new place, how do you make sure there's a smooth transition and a positive relationship there?
Between myself and the point of contact at the facility or the new hires?
Let's first talk about the that's good, because there's two connection points there, right? So I would say, with the customer, you have a new customer, a new client that you're going to, either OpenWorks or whatever, real estate, whatever world you're in at that point, you're going through a bit of a change, or they're going through a bit of a change there. So there's some change management that you have to take on. So what does that look like for you?
Correct. So the first thing I do is, once we meet and everything, because one of the things that they want to feel is reassured that you can do either what the last company or people or persons weren't doing, or B, be able to handle something that they couldn't handle. So maybe they didn't have a previous company in, but they were trying to handle it themselves or do it themselves and said, okay, we need a company to do this. So the first thing they want is reassurance. And how I try to provide that to them is, being there the first, because most of my facilities, I don't start out actually working, but I am there probably day 1 and 2 actually working. But then I'm also there overseeing my people that I bring in. And I usually bring more than I need to, just so that we can, if we can make an impact that first week, I feel like it gives them a big relief. It almost goes back to what I was saying about the deep breaths. It's almost like, they did this. And most of my facilities that I start, they see something different in the first week. And they're like, okay. The other big thing is I communicate with them constantly via phone, text, or an email. And that may be every single day for, a few weeks. Mm-hmm. So those things, those small things, I think give them reassurance that not only do we want to provide a great service, but I'm here for anything that you need. If they can see that open communication, I think that gives them relief. I just met with one of my customers today, and they brought in, so it's at this condo building, and they got a new president, and they were like, well, we want to meet the franchise owners. And one of the things she said to me today was, I can tell you really want this to work because you made time to speak to me and you really didn't have to. And so that's the thing that they want to see, is that you're going to be there and communicate with them. And so my initial thing. Even when I meet them, I say, hey, my door is always open. And I know that sounds cliche.
No, but once they learn that your door really is open, that's
yes,
everything.
Because the number that they have, even if I don't answer it, it rolls to who is my partner, my wife. It rolls to her phone. So even if I'm in another meeting or something, she can still answer and take a message or, speak or do what has to.
It's that human connection. That human
Correct.
Connection is right
Correct.
there.
It's right there. And so that's what I give them. And then, of course, I'm genuine in anything that I'm saying or doing. So it's not just talk. So I really do feel that, look, I'm here for you. I'm here to provide a service for you, but also tell them it's a partnership. I asked them to give me feedback. Hey, if we're not doing a good job, let me know. That's the only way I can correct it.
Right. How else are you going to, fix something
yes.
if you don't know you're doing it wrong?
Yes. So those are probably 2-3 big things. Third one is to let them know we're about the partnership that I do that I think gives them some relief.
Right. So then same question then with people that you are hiring. How do you, ensure that you've hired the right person, that, they're going to uphold, because they're now working for you. So now they're the face of the company as well, so how do you make sure you've hired the right person and they're holding up to their end of the bargain?
So the very first thing I do want to say is I almost never know if I hired the right person. However, any person that I hire, I always want to reassure them that we're a team. I tell them right off the bat, I don't look at it as you work for me. Yes, I sign the check, but we work together. Ultimately, if you don't do good, we don't do good. We don't have a contract. And so the first thing I say is, whatever it is you need, let me know. Whatever can help make your job easier, let me know so that I can get that to help you do the job better. One, that makes them feel like at least I'm on their side. And then two, I also tell them, I'm looking to grow this company. I'm a small business owner, but I'm looking to grow, which means if I grow, you grow. I'm going to need supervisors after a while, which I have some now. But I tell them, as I grow, I'm going to need more supervisors. At some point, I'm going to need district managers. I'm going to need regional managers, because I'm seeing 5, 10, 15 years down the road. I'm not looking at next week, next month. I'm looking at 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And so I try to show them growth opportunity as well. I'm not just looking for a person that just for the right now. And a lot of them, even if they don't work out, a lot of them, I think, take that to heart, because I've had at one time I had upwards of 25 employees. I've probably had out of maybe all of the ones that have left for different reasons, whether it be contracts ended or what have you, I think at least 50% of them, even if they went off and got another job, call me back and say, hey, are you still hiring? Can I come back? Because I think they see the genuineness in myself and my wife as it relates to, seeing them as people and not just workers.
Right.
And so I think that is key in hiring anybody.
Right. I love that so much, because so many people I think if you're not in this business or the facility business, you don't really understand what cleaning is and what it means. It's like, we're not just, taking trash out to the trash bin. And I think when you look at it with that larger vision, like looking forward 10, 15 years, and then looking at it like I'm making this place a great place for someone to live or someone to work. Maybe they're going to have a better day because they put their hand up to the soap dispenser and the soap came out. I hate it when it doesn't come out. And, you
Right.
stand there.
Yeah.
But,
Or how
Go
many
ahead.
times do you go to places and you're looking like, I wonder who's cleaning their building, when you go in a public bathroom or something. I mean, it is important.
So you said you were in the military, so I want to thank you for your service.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
So what branch of the military and how did that help you develop into the person you are now?
So I was in the Air Force. I had the opportunity to do a lot of great things in the Air Force. The main thing that it helped with was discipline and structure. I almost can't do anything without some sort of structure. And a lot of times, if I don't have it myself, I'm all over the place. And so structure is key to my success as well. And a lot of that came, from the military. Also, respecting positions as opposed to people. I think that helps sometimes too, because, and what I mean by that is sometimes when you're dealing with either certain, so we had a customer one time that was a very challenging customer. And
Not everyone is nice as pie.
and, they had this going back to what you were saying. They were looking at us as the janitor, like you just take out the trash. That's what you do. That's what we hired you to do. Right. And I had to really, handle myself in a professional way and respect that he was the customer. Right. And so, we can't talk to people any kind of way. And I had to learn that from the military. So I guess I would say restraint more so, because there were times where the supervisor or the sergeant or the commander, they would talk to us any kind of way and we just had to take it. Now, I don't necessarily just take it anymore. I just know how to handle it in a more professional way. And so I'm a respecter of people, but also at times positions, but structure being the main one.
Right. I love that answer because that's something I don't know. I never really thought about. Sometimes, unfortunately you have to pick your time and place and you have to still be appropriate and still, focus on your goals as somebody who's working. And the fact that military can teach you that, either that or you're going to be doing 100 push-ups, right? So I might as well just keep my mouth shut, be happy with what I'm doing. And, but I hear what you're saying. So I love that so much. Do you have anything else that you want to add, Marcus, to this conversation? This has been amazing speaking with you and finding out more about what you want and what you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm just excited for 2024 and 2025. I'm also excited to see where OpenWorks goes. One of the things that I think about often, going back to we talking about franchises and different companies and, the McDonald's of the world and Burger Kings. And to me, OpenWorks is a young company, and meaning we have a lot where we can grow. And so I foresee OpenWorks being, growing and continuing to grow. And that's something that I want to be a part of. And so I think about it often, and I think there's a lot where we can grow and then bring in new franchisees. Franchisees bring in new employees, and OpenWorks being a powerhouse name in the commercial cleaning and facility management arena.
Yeah, well, I definitely appreciate hearing that. And, we are 40 years old this year. So we're not so young, but.
No, not in that aspect. But I guess I'm thinking of we didn't start in 1890 or the early 1900s. When I say young, 40 years is a long time.
It is. And I think also what you're trying to say too is, we're very open to the future and, getting new technologies on board and getting new platforms on board and different ways we can be very agile and, help people like franchisees and our customers at the same time. Where I sit here at corporate, it's helping you guys, making sure you have what you need and that communication. And then it's also making sure, it's kind of being that conduit. And I see OpenWorks always trying to bring in new technologies, whether it's my OpenWorks and the platform and new exciting things that are coming and, processes. So I think I totally agree with you there. So I'm so excited to hear you say that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see how far we can.
Special thanks to Marcus Scott for coming on the podcast, The Clean Slate, with me today and talking about how to start your day with 3 deep, beautiful breaths and have an eye towards success. Thanks for listening. Enjoying the podcast? Leave a review. To otherwise support our podcast, please share and follow us on your favorite streaming platform. You can also visit our website to find show notes and more info on each episode at www.openworksweb.com/podcast. Want to be a guest on an upcoming podcast? Check out the information in the description to apply. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep it clean.